Alright, so I'm just here to talk about things that I've wanted to. I even have a script for, but I wasn't sure if I was going to use it to an extent. I was going to record this last night, but the World Series went 18 innings, so that didn't happen. But we're here about 12 hours after I was supposed to. FF7 Twitter has been on a bit of a interesting ride the last 48 hours because of things, and I want to give my opinion because I just want to sound cool. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that because I can. So I have a lot of opinions. One thing I'll start with is that yeah, I'm a new fan of the game, right? I'm a new fan of the game. Also, shout out to music. You see it right there. I'll turn it down a little. But I'm a new fan of the game. I became a fan a year and a half ago, right before Rebirth. I play Cloud and Sephiroth and Smash Bros. Right? So I played Cloud for a long time. Sephiroth came out. I played him some more and got pretty good with him. So I obviously still play him a lot. And when it was the Game Awards and Rebirth was advertised and the main theme was sung and stuff, I was like, you know what? I've been waiting for a reason to play the game for a long time, and I had the time to be able to do it around Rebirth's release. So I did. I played Remake and all that, right? Also, baseline, I didn't know anything about the game. So everything I say here about did they destroy the tone of the game, as someone that hadn't played the game until recently, that is what we're here to talk about. Short answer, no. They did not do that. And I'm going to tell you some things that a lot of people criticize about Remake and why I think it worked for someone that knew nothing about the game going in besides Cloud and Sephiroth existing. Just existing. Not even their character, just existing was all I knew about. And the fact that Cloud's this brooder and Sephiroth is evil, right? Big thing, right? Whispers and all of that. We'll start from the beginning, right? It's Remake in general is 95% faithful. Rebirth, same thing. For Sephiroth, I think it was really important to actually show Sephiroth early because I had to get engrossed in the game. Getting in Remake for the first time, first off, if I didn't see Sephiroth out of all the Remake, I would have been confused, man. I would have been confused. I don't think that would have been the way to go. The original, obviously, that would have been being 100% faithful. Seeing him in chapter 2, at a point where I hadn't obviously gotten engrossed yet, I thought it was good. I was probably going to keep trying it out, but I wasn't engrossed or anything. I wasn't committed completely. And you see Sephiroth and you just lean in a little bit, you lock in a little bit, because you see Sephiroth and you're like, alright, it's time to lock in. And then it helps building the story, building the characters, and just in general making you interested in what is happening. And it helped. I would say that little moment helped, because I was thinking about taking a break at that current moment, but not really exactly sure when I was going to play again or hop back on again or whatever. But then Sephiroth pops up, so I lock in, and then Sephiroth pops up, and then Aerith pops up, who, meanwhile, by the way, I didn't know that was Aerith. This is what we're talking about, the level of how much I knew or didn't know. I didn't know that was Aerith. The flower peddler or whatever, I didn't know that was Aerith. I knew the name Aerith, I didn't know that was Aerith. By the time we get to the church in Aerith, I feel stupid because that was Aerith. How did I know that was Aerith? But I think knowing, I think seeing Sephiroth is a really big thing, and also I think the Whispers do a lot, because the Whispers' existence, I can understand being frustrated with the Whispers, but I do think the Whispers' existence helps you lock in a little bit as well, a little intrigue, a little confusion, and the original game holds a lot of confusion, because I played the original game after playing Rebirth. I think the original game holds a lot of... Well, no, I played the original before Rebirth. Sorry. I also played it after. But the original game holds a lot of confusion, a lot of it, and there's a lot of things I like to talk about in this instance where I think a lot of things get flipped and how things go. Ignore my hair, man. I'm whatever. I think a lot of things happen in the original that are obviously done to like Nibelheim. You get to Nibelheim at that point, you don't even know if Cloud's telling the truth. You don't know if any of that happened because Tifa doesn't allude to anything. There's a lot of things in the original that cause a lot of confusion and a lot of questions and make you want to keep playing to get the answers. The whispers do the same thing, because you see these whispers and you're like, what the frick are these things? Why are they here? What are they doing? Are they good? Are they bad? And you keep going, it gives you something to question. The existence of the whispers also bring a lot of theories, which brings a lot of conversation, and conversation I think is very important in games. Conversation at this point is super important in the aspect that we need, like, it helped a lot with getting me into the game even more, because the theories I think are so interesting, not just about the whispers, but also part of it, which asks you more questions. Like, I could just listen to certain people, like, we'll see. I'm gonna pull up some tweets about the whole FF7 Twitter thing, by the way, so stay tuned. Like Max Million, dude, right? I could listen to him talk FF7 all day. If I see a stream notification that Max is about to do with FF7 in it, I'm stopping everything I'm doing and indulging. That's just kind of the nature of where we're like at, and it adds the conversation. So I think the whispers are fine. I think seeing Sephiroth is important. Like, and that's why I'm here to talk a lot of things, because I think I can bring that like point of view that a lot of people can't have as someone that might have played the game in 1997. I was -9 years old in 1997, so I did not play the game in 1997, but I did play it in 2024, and I can tell you what that was like. Let's pull up some tweets. Alright, let's pull up some tweets. I don't know what order I was supposed to do in, because I did this last night, but we'll just do it. I think these are in order. So yeah, so much hatred for changes in FF7R games stems from the fundamental misunderstandings or off-base interpretations of what the original was doing and what the remake trilogy is trying to accomplish. It seems actually a perfect case study. The point of FF7R isn't one recreate. Well, one thing too, I'm also going to add, one thing about the thing with FF7R is the whole thing is obviously pretty clearly their vision in 1997 was able to be accomplished, and if you can't accept that, then like we shouldn't even talk, because that is the most baseline thing to accept, is that any changes were what their things were, what their opinions were on what they wanted. One of the biggest things that I think about often is Tifa and Aerith's relationship is greatly increased, greatly, I think, improved. I played the original, obviously before Rebirth, and I'm like, do these girls even like each other? And I forget who it was. It was probably, it might have been Katase, it might have been Omura, probably Katase, I don't remember. But there was like an interview like after Rebirth where it's like, that stuck with him, because that wasn't the intention at all, and he really wanted to make that right. So and they did that. They made a lot of changes to make things right. Excuse me. So yeah, they made a lot of things to make things correct the way they wanted them to be in the original game. I don't remember if I was supposed to look through the comments on this. The point is to expand the level of expression and detail from every element of FF7 while also integrating all of the compilation of FF7 content into the story. I mean, yeah, like I can't really add anything to this. Yeah, it's in the original. They got the scene Rebirth, and then we're just. Okay, yeah, and we're just gonna hate on on the guy who started this all, and then you got Baby Seal here. The entire point of the protagonist arc in FF7 was to deconstruct what it meant to be cool, it's a journey to disregard toxicity, embrace things that are actually worth fighting for. Les Mosey is cringe, but it's undeniably a beautiful expression of Cloud's journey. Yeah, like 100%. Like, if you think from that aspect, that is a really big line, right? Like, people like, that's a line that enters my head a lot. Is Les Mosey. Yeah, that's cringe. And this is kind of the start of the... Where are we getting that the original didn't have any whimsy? Where are we getting that? I mean, Cloud, like, has, like one thing... Let's pull something up real quick. Let me pull something up real quick. Look at the top part of can we have it? Yeah. Look at the top part of this, or the bottom part more than anything. Fudge! I messed up. Ignore me. Like, yeah, this game had no whimsy. It had none. See, can we tone down the whimsy just a little, please? Yeah. Why? why are we here? Why is this a conversation being happen? like what is this supposed to be? Like, at this point, this is just like a let me scroll some stuff. Yeah, this gives me a couple things to talk about. I don't love the dine scene. The Midgard's could have been done better. Frankly, I don't care because I have a burning hatred for snakes, so the less the better. But to be fair, fighting it is So like some things, I have my criticisms. I really hate the Return to the Sewers of Remake. I think it ruins a lot of things. Like, the game would be way better for it. It's like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 game. I love Remake just as much as Rebirth. Rebirth's an objectively better game, but I love Remake just as much as Rebirth. Especially because it brought me into the series. And, like, that didn't have to be there. Like, if the whole game was as good as that sewer scene, I would not have finished it. Genuinely. And the thing with Nanaki, it was their intention. You don't have to like it, but it was their intention. They didn't add it to mess with the game. It was their intention from the very, very beginning of the game. Right? That's just the case here. I don't know if there's anything else. But yeah, I mean, that's one big thing. I can talk about this here. The Cloud was always, in my mind, soldier first class. Big brooding boy. He's not that, and I think that's really powerful. My favorite part of the game is the live stream sequence. It's one of my favorite parts of any game ever, because it does do kind of the opposite of what you are thinking. You think Cloud is everything that he says he is. You think Cloud is this big brooding anime swords fighter, but he's not, and that's big. And again, there's a reason this game is so big with teenagers, and technically, yeah, I'm a teenager, right? Like, just listen to Max talk about it. Max, dude, right? He'll tell you exactly why it resonates with everything, because he, like me, except a quarter century ago, isn't a fan of JRPGs, wasn't a fan of RPGs in general. But this game just hits for reasons that are almost hard to explain, but it's so obvious at the same time for why it works. It's just a big thing, right? The rage bait about remake games losing FF7 is consistently bizarre, but I think it hits the fact that a lot of FF7 fans have misunderstood for years. I remember talking to a guy in high school and college who thought Cloud was just this brilliant guy. I mean, yeah, even if you play the game, you can still think that's the case for some reason, but you can. He's written pretty extensively that the real heart of FF as a series is a sense of whimsy. 7 still has that element, but perhaps illustrates it even more in other games because of how juxtaposed against a genuinely dark storytelling. So I'm so sure I generally don't think the games have lost the tone at all, but I think their nature of enhancing the story, the way they balance things, is a bit different. It has to be. Yeah. I mean, dude, in the original game, it's what people are going to mention a lot. In the original game, there are tonal issues. We go snowboarding after Aerith died. I mean, I don't have to say anything else. Like, there are tonal issues, but I don't think they're tonal issues. I think it is a sense of whiplash on purpose. On purpose. I don't think it's a tonal. I don't view it as a tonal issue personally, because hey, life marches on, right? Life marches on. You gotta keep going, and I think a lot of times people think this game is really human, deeply human game, and it constantly tries to sell that to you, and it succeeds, in my opinion. That's one thing that gets with me, is that it feels so human as a game compared to other games in general, especially JRPGs. The characters feel ridiculously human. That's why the voice acting and everything is so incredible in Remake, because they feel human, they feel like the characters, they feel presented correctly, you feel a connection with them. In a JRPG, that is not easy, especially for me. I mean, like, oh, why is there too much whimsy and stuff, especially in Rebirth? They are going to all of these tourist destinations, and you want them to have a stoic face and have no fun. Like, Rebirth is just a globe-trotting game. There's honestly not a lot of story in Rebirth, which is why they also materialized a good amount of story. And also part of it, another thing, like, you hear Max say a lot. I'm going to reference Max a lot because I've watched every single piece of FF7 media he's ever made. Not quite, but close enough. They want you to fall in love with the game and the characters and the world. The characters in the world. They want you to fall in love with that, to give you something that you want to save. And they do that. And again, yeah, this game is, like, bro, they're just going to different places. There's going to be moments of fun. And even if they're a little quirky, okay, and taking things too serious, it's not that deep. It's simply not that deep. I feel like there was another point I was going to make, but sometimes things go in my brain too quickly and I forget. I feel like, what else was there? I think a lot of people misunderstood, and also a lot of people talk about, like, oh, we've played these games hundreds of times, there's no misconception. I feel like that's not true. I feel like if you think of a game one way in 1997, then you play it in 2000, you're thinking of it the same way. Then you play it in 2010, you're thinking of it the same way. Eventually, your perception of something is going to last for so long that it is never going to change. That's the way I view it, right? I just think eventually it's just gonna do that. It's just gonna last so long that it's just not going to change. I'm trying to think of what I was talking about, but I really do not know. I don't know. Alright, this is a big one. Just thought about this in streaming. The game has existed and been replayed for 30 years. Even having children was totally way different. Yeah, having children, a decent amount of damage. Yeah. Generally, one of the biggest issues is that Final Fantasy VII as it exists in so many people's minds is so wildly different from the FF7 that exists in reality. If anything, the remakes have an understanding of its themes and characters so much more than any other non-original 7 media, and I still can't believe how good it is. And people talk about this with Max. Max said this in like 2019 when he played the demos, where he was like, his confidence went way up in the game because he played through the beginning and was like, they got the characters right. And I mean, that's a big deal after basically 20 years of them not doing it. Sometimes so jarring with another scene time, for example, but the tone of Remake is very, yeah. And again, like, it's rough, but, oh, that's, that's an interesting point from Blitz. It's almost like they became Cloud in a way. That's kind of true, actually. What a mess is in all the discourse the last few days, and how it guys single-handedly united the fandom. It's very funny. It is very funny. All right, let's move. Yeah, we saw that, and here's Coney, which is random because these are maybe two of my favorite content creators. Somebody played FF7 last year with zero nostalgia or attachment. Prior, I think it's insane to see people think that Remake is totally similar. If Remake is clear to the extended version they wanted in FF7, that's totally valid, but I wonder if years of extra FF7 media boiled the frog a little. This is one thing I talk about. First off, again, because I played FF7 last year, and I absolutely believe that the tone was similar. And also, let's just be real, the tone's going to come off, I think Max says it, the tone's going to come off a whole lot different when you're taking a game in 1997 that's as deep as any game's going to get, because no games had voice acting, they had pop-eye models at best, and all of that, right? So it's going to be hard for any game to genuinely connect completely, especially in 2025 when we're used to voice acting and beautiful models on 4K TVs and monitors. It's just how it works. The game is just going to be a little harder. You have to read between the lines a lot more. There are things I don't love about the remake and the way things are presented, like Aerith and Tifa's relationship feels like a miss. Kate Sith and Yuffie just genuinely suck. You hate your own party members. There's problems in that game too. In Remake, there's problems. I don't love the dying scene. I think they kind of got messed up with a lot of emotion in it, frankly, because I remember playing it before Rebirth, like I said, and then he just like goes off the cliff, and it's like, like you're just speechless. It is very jarring, and missing out on that is pretty not ideal to me. I understand why, but it's not the best to me. But even then, is exactly what I'm talking about. Coney says the thing. If Remake is closer to the intended version they wanted in 97, that's completely valid. As long as you can understand that, we got no problem. Because at that point, that's your opinion. I think if you disregard that, you're disregarding facts at that point. Tone is a pretty broad term, but playing 7 during the time period of its release will absolutely have an effect in these looking at a title in current day. See, is there anything else that was not felt with the compilation? It was like it feels like putting glasses on for the first time. I think that's a very good way to put it. In the mid-2000s, everything felt off, but it was nice to see the characters interacting again. The perspective of having the compilation series compared to remakes drastically put things in a different perspective for me. This is why I'm drawn to it, along with many others. I also don't think it takes too much critical to see the narrative adjustments need to be made to redistribute levity and conflict so that this endeavor works as 3 parts. Obviously, tone of the 3rd part will be darker. It's the literal apocalypse, and I think I have that on that tweet coming up where Baby still talks about that. Yeah, Rebirth is lighter because the nature of it. Part 3 is going to be way darker. The game hasn't been dark. Why isn't the game dark at all? It's not about too much whimsy, but the game hasn't been dark at all. I promise I'm genuinely like terrified of part 3 and how dark it's gonna get. Like, that thing is going to get dark, very, very dark, and they can go basically as dark as they want. Like, they can have Aerith in Cloud's ear, but it's actually Genova and just manipulating him constantly. Now they got me messed up, I'm sorry. But, yeah, part 3, because the majority of part 3 is, oh man, we're all gonna die for a very large portion of it. It's also a Globetrotting adventure game to get you to like these random characters, for instance, I see in part 3. Yeah, that's exactly what I said already. That's exactly what I said already. Is there anything else to talk about? I don't know what people said under Conies. Let's look at what people said under Conies. Rebirth gives it a tone light, but exaggerates it 10 times. The thing is, okay, I don't necessarily even agree with that take. The reason I say that is because it exaggerates it 10 times because the game is obviously condensed into 3 parts. So they're going to be materialized whimsy. But I feel like the percentage is still similar, no? On genuine whimsy. One thing I'm also going to talk about. I meant to talk about it earlier. It might have been what I want to talk about. I think a big reason why the 3-part series works, a lot of people say, why did they make it 3 parts? It needed to be a 1-to-1 remake. I don't agree with that, because first off, I think if it was a 1-to-1 remake, it wouldn't have reached me. And if it wouldn't have reached me, it wouldn't have reached a lot of people. It being dragged out over 10 years is good, because it gives a lot of different people. Its net is so large, it gets a big chance to get a lot of people. And I think if you're a fan of a game, a fan of anything, you want people to get to know it and get to love it as well. Right? So if it was a 1-to-1 remake like Tactics, right? It feels like Tactics. Fantastic game, by the way. It feels like Tactics. It would have sold great. It would have been great. Would it have been up for Game of the Year? Would it have had all of this conversation for all this amount of time? Would it have made so many careers? Do you think how many careers have been made off of FF7? A lot of careers, a lot of lives changed. And and a lot of lives changed doesn't even just go in the net of content creators, right? So I think the 3-part matters because it allows us so much time to reach so many people. And it wouldn't have reached me because first off, I didn't know FF7 Remake existed until Rebirth existed. So, yeah, because I'm a Nintendo guy. Can you tell? Can you see? I'm a Nintendo guy. So, so when the FS timeline shenanigans is bad, but if it does it, it's automatically good. What? Coney's right here. What? And again, timeline shenanigans is a interesting thing because I think a lot of things that people don't like the remake, in my mind, I'm like, wait till part 3 and please have an open mind, because a lot of the things that people don't like I don't really think there's timeline shenanigans. If you watch like that John Q Gamer theory, I think that changes so much because it's the idea that it's not multiple timelines, it's just multiple worlds that were created to literally save the world. Their hands were forced to create multiple worlds. I think that's genuinely more interesting. And again, the multiple timelines exist for fan service. They're fan service and they really don't change that much. The multiple timeline stuff really doesn't change that much. All it does is give us something to talk about in between games and gives us Zack and the mystique that Aerith could live, basically. That's all it does. It gives us conversation, which is fan service in its own way, and a cool boss fight, I guess. A few cool boss fights. It's just fan service. It never bothered me. When I played Remake at the end, I was a little confused by the ending. Like, why did everything happen? Yeah, I think it makes sense now. Back to tweets. Let's move. It's already been freaking 30 minutes. Goodness. I don't even think it's in a bad way or an issue at all, but they are different, even if it's just functional restrictions put on them. Yeah. It's fair. Remake series was made for the fans, not for tourists like me, which is great, but they do feel different. But this is me here as a tourist at the time, become fan, explaining why I became a fan. Really the big reason I became a fan is because I just love the atmosphere, the music, and the characters, man. They're so good that I just got into it, and then I could easily swallow the rest of it and become someone that's right here defending it. Right? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not even looking at that. So far, sure, but part 3 is going to be almost entirely beset in a world facing destruction in the wake of party members' death and the MC phasing between stages. Excuse me. We're supposed to fall in love with the world we're trying to save. Yeah, that's basically the exact point being made. So here's my lecture. It wasn't entirely. I'm surprised I kept this here. Final thought, it was undeniably cool to play. I don't think I have anything to add to that, so I'm not gonna talk about it. You can read it if you want. If you want to pause and read it, if you haven't already. So I think now the play here is to go to my bookmarks. So we have some bookmarks here. Yeah, here now it's time to go through some whimsy. Some whimsy that this game does not have. None. It has none. It has a Red 13 in the Shinra suit. Speedo Dio. Literally. Palmer existing. The Honeybee Inn existing, and Bubby. The Honeybee Inn existing, which I said. Tifa and Zoro at Slap Fight. The Bald Bar. There's plenty of missteps to criticize Remake and Rebirth over, like a spiral staircase being missing, farming everything in a tone there will be blood. There will be blood also gives me the thought of, I don't get why people care so much about the lack of blood in the Genova sequence in Remake, at the end of Remake, where it's goop. Rather, just imagine it's blood. Like, I don't get it. I don't get the obsession with it needing to be blood. I get it. But again, if we want to be a fan of the game would be rated M, and that is not what they need. Here's a 4-year-old serving drinks. Yeah, look at this stupid game. Who came up with this silly shit? Now I'm getting mad. Slap stupid. Like, yeah. My issue with Rebirth is it feels more contrived and unnatural. Remake going from shuffling around in the suit like an idiot to walking in it. Silly, but the same ballpark. Alright, with different choreography. I understand thinking that was too much, but to be honest, it was so ridiculous that I have no takeaways. At that point, all I could do is like laugh at like how just insane it was. I don't know if that's in a different ballpark than Red moonwalking. Because it's just like when you arrive at the saucer, it's just constantly slapping you. It's just constantly slapping you with stupidity, and it just feels so just otherworldly insane. Yeah. Take a cutscene where we fold laundry or do daily tasks. It means I get to see them interact in more funny ways. Yeah. Exactly. This is a really interesting thing to me. I'd never seen this. This is off screen. Oh gosh. Okay. What do I do? The goal of Remake Trilogy rather than Reverse is to correct the distortion of perception and unify the series. Normally, remakes are about the keeping the game system and story intact while making the image quality beautiful. However, more than 20 years have passed since the original, and simply making it beautiful would obviously not fit the current era, and I thought that the player's memories would be heavily biased. I don't think there are many people who have been playing FF7 for 20 years, so the old memories must have changed slightly in players' minds. Furthermore, there are several spin-off works of FF7, and even the same scene may be different from the original, so I think that the passage of time and the existence of spin-offs have caused a subtle distortion of perception in the player's memories. If I replay it now, I'll think, oh, was the scene like this? I thought this way. I feel the same way, but especially Nojima, the scenario writer, it might have been Nojima talking about the other stuff, dang it, was concerned about the distortion of perception. So I want to converge into that. Really interesting, huh? Really interesting. It was so wonky, I'm sorry. I probably should have just moved it. Yeah, it's more than I imagined on those levels, but what's stuck with me is every time. By the way, Yeah, this is have to be the voice I imagine. I've never heard any other FF7 thing. That may be said, but even then, look at the dialogue, right? He was every bit as warm-hearted as we'd always thought. One thing that's interesting to me too, I go back to I watch Advent Children after Rebirth and everything. I can't take in those voices. I genuinely can't. They are so different. And then Tifa's going dilly dally shilly shally, and then I want to stop. I just kind of want to die in GTA. That is at that point. It irks me. Tifa's voice is so off in Advent Children. I can't imagine it not being Britt Baron talking. I can't imagine that. And there's other characters like Cloud and Aerith where it's a little closer. And in Barrett too. Sid, I can't imagine Sid without an accent. I honestly think whenever I played the original, I kind of envisioned an accent of some sort. Maybe not Texan. But I didn't envision what we hear in Advent Children and stuff. And Dirge. Yeah, and I'm sure also Sid's just gonna be addressed. Sid's gonna probably have moments. We haven't even gone to Rocket Town yet. Yeah. And we get that. I mean, dude, this is one of the biggest cases to me. This is one of the most serious scenes in the game. You wanna run it back? One of the most serious scenes in the game. And he throws a materia at you and then does a little spinaroo and flies away. One of the most serious scenes in the game. One thing I like to mention too, I just played FF6, right? For the first time. The main character of the game is conceived by spinning around in circles and born in about 10 seconds. But the game is serious. Final Fantasy is a serious franchise. And that's one thing too. I thought that. I went into Remake being like, alright, this is a serious game, and Cloud's like this, and I had these misconceptions from the way the games were portrayed and the way some people talk about them. I had these misconceptions. And then I play the game, and then we get to the Honeybee Inn and Remake, and I'm like, what happening? What is happening? It's the game. The game is not overly serious. It has very serious moments. It has a very deep story. But yeah, so much hatred for the fan. Is this? Yep. I think that's about it. Let's put this back up. Continue the credit. The real reason why is I don't have premium right now for some reason, because I'm stupid. So I don't want to go through different songs. So, yeah, here. I don't know if I have anything else to talk about or not. But, yeah, basically, I had the same misconceptions, right, about the game, about it being serious and all of that. And I took the whimsy in full spade, right? And a lot of things about people not liking about a remake, to me, feel justified in my existence and the way I took in the game, because of the way I saw the game and the way the game became to me, right? So, oh, the game's serious. Cloud's Soldier First Class, and all of that, right? So there's just a lot of things there that I think are notable when it comes to me, and how I became a fan and all of that, right? I'll talk about with the theories. I think having all those theories is really strong, really important, really nice. because it makes me want to talk more, and the more I talk about something, the more I kind of fall in love with it, and I'm addicted to talking to myself, at least, about things I'm passionate about. That's it, though. I'm an introvert, but I love talking about Final Fantasy 7. But and frankly, I have no one to talk about it with, right? So I just want to talk about some stuff on this. I think it's fun to talk about. There's a couple things that I have, and honestly, I don't know where else to put this because I don't know how often I'll actually have a sit down and talk video. One thing I want to talk about, because I see a lot of people talk about stuff, the scene at the end of Intergrade where Zack goes into the church and then Aerith isn't there and everyone's mourning. I think it's one of two things. I think it's for sure either Aerith's already died in that timeline and everyone's mourning it, or it's just after the plate drop. Because I think right before that is Yuffie seeing the plate drop. So it might just be after the plate drop. They saw Aerith get taken over to Shinra because she obviously ended up back at her house taking Marlene over. They probably saw a song with her knowing that she's getting taken, and then they don't know if she's ever coming back. And they're also mourning, the plate dropping. I think there's just a good chance it's that as well. And I don't know when else to talk on that, so I just wanted to mention that. 40 minutes is a long time, but I talk about it because I wanted to. I don't care if it gets 0 views, because I have fun and I want to talk about it. So I did. And there was things I definitely could have talked about as well. Again, like I mentioned, I had like a script and stuff, but frankly I think I got everything out of that. And I'm more of a freelancer anyway. I don't think you're really going to see many video essays from me, but you will see more videos coming soon. So if you want more videos like this, you should tell me, and also like and subscribe, frankly. But I'm also going to do a lot of things that aren't like this, because I'm just going to do whatever I want to and hope that people enjoy or not. It is what it is. I'm going to do some like music reaction stuff too coming soon, because I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasies, and I'm regularly not going to play all of them, so I think it would be fun as someone that really loves music to listen to the music of the game and other stuff. I don't know if there's, like, I think I covered mostly everything on my opinions on everything that's been talked about with the tone and them ruining Remake. Again, I don't understand the point of a 1-to-1, because the original still holds up, right? The original still holds up. I played this. I don't play any JRPGs. I don't play any RPGs in general. But I loved the original in 2024. The game holds up. We don't need a 1-to-1. And I think it's great that we have the remake that coexists and a reason to still go back to the original, which is, in my opinion, the greatest game of all time. I think that, and I don't feel comfortable saying stuff like you would almost never hear me say the greatest of all time. I would tend to say my favorite. If there's anything I feel confident about saying, I believe that it is the greatest game of all time, because I think it checks all the boxes. Doesn't mean it's perfect. No, no, it is not perfect. But I love it in everything that matters to me in a game. And no, they did not mess with the tone. And that's a perspective of a new fan of the game, and why I think it was important that we saw Sephiroth, why we saw the Whispers, why things were presented the way they were, and also just kind of recapping the insanity that we've had on Twitter. And I'm sure it's only getting crazier. Well, probably not crazier, but I'm sure it's only adding. I'm sure there's only more coming. But yeah, that's it, I guess. And I'm just gonna upload this right now because I don't want to edit it, and I don't think there's a point in editing it. There's a couple missteps, but this is the type of stuff I really want to do. So that's just what I'm gonna do. Keeps it authentic, my opinion, my style. And I'm just here to have fun, so if you enjoy it, that's fantastic. Peace.